Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Last Call, the morning show that tells you about the morning, the evening, some suches and whatnots, some interesting anecdotes, and why Bender is always and emphatically the happiest man alive.
Wow. Wow. This is, I can't wait to hear this.
Well, I think Bender, why are you? How you've been able to achieve this level of overall satisfaction and happiness in your life? How is this?
Let's talk about what what level you like. What level of happiness and satisfaction is it that I have achieved? And then I'll tell you how I got it.
That's not how this works, you see. Anyways, look, so I'll say this. If I were Bender, I would be one of the happiest men alive, even though I'm very, very happy. But I have to say, so coming into yesterday and over the weekend, Bender was looking for the ups. He was steadfast, ups. We're going to go bang some levels to the upside. Steadfast. Yesterday, steadfast. I need everybody to kind of imagine in some ways that Bender was in a race. He was in a sprint. He started sprinting, right? And so he's running, he's moving, he's doing his thing, and all of a sudden some asshole comes out of nowhere and kicks him right in the fucking balls.
Right in the balls.
Right in the balls. That would have been Apple. Apple came and kicked Bender in the balls, which is ironic because Bender hates Apple.
I hate Apple.
There's a real irony mixed into this whole thing. Running the balls. So what happens post? Everybody gets to digest it. The actual news items regarding what Apple is doing comes out. Okay, it is quantified in some capacity. And what happens, Bender? We go ups.
Yes.
We go up.
Man, that shit yesterday, I was watching that come out going, this is nothing that, A, wasn't already known, shouldn't surprise anybody. I didn't see anything that was like, oh, yeah, this makes sense for us to do what we did. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really change a whole lot. It just, in my opinion, watching the price action yesterday was like, yeah, this isn't fun at the moment, but at the same time, it was pretty minor.
It was pretty minor. So, and I'll finish the subject real quick before we move on.
And to be fair, we've been bullish since like the 13th when we held that previous trend line.
But for the sake of fairness all the way around, I think it's fair to say this. And going back to the happiest man in the world, which is a stretch, obviously. We all know this. Bender is deadly accurate when it comes to viewing charts and setups and having them play out in a certain way. When he has a certain level of conviction, you can tell. You can tell when he has that level of conviction that something's going to happen. Now, does that mean it's going to happen immediately? No. But it does mean that you need to have your eyes and ears open and have a tilt towards that direction, is what that means. Now, Bender can say, shut the fuck up, Hells. Don't say that. That's ridiculous. You're going to... No, this is after years of trading alongside this man. I've seen it play out. I've seen it happen. And it should be acknowledged. So
this is for entertainment purposes only. Anybody that's listening, we are not responsible for any profits or losses that you may incur.
There you go. Good job. Good job. Me too. Hashtag B2 to what he just said. But this is what it did for me. So over the weekend, I was pretty sure we would get some type of a pullback. I just didn't know where it was going to come from. That was my plan. So yesterday, I sat on my hands the entire day. And ultimately, I ended up buying the dip. Still got rolled, even though I thought I bought a pretty good dip. Still got rolled on the dip. but the steadfastness in his messaging, his charting, and what he was looking for to happen allowed me to enter the game. Statistically, when he has that level of conviction, may not be day one, sometimes may not day two. Rest assured, it will happen. Statistically, that's if you're in the math, it will happen. All right, so let's get into some of the nuts and bolts of the overnight. Europe reported core CPI. Numbers came in as was expected. You know, there's nothing new, nothing crazy, nothing wild. We came out and threw out some building permits and housing starts and whatnot. Again, in line, nothing amazing, nothing awful, nothing crazy happened. And we are kind of set to rally here a little bit today and maybe pick up the sticks and continue on the course that we were headed on yesterday before Apple decided to come and kick not only Bender, but everybody else in the balls. There's a lot of talk about semiconductors right now because of the legislation that is being proposed. So obviously there's a lot of money that's revolving in that zone. Clean energies, a lot of money running through there. Several announcements from different companies starting to focus on hydrogen. So companies like FCell, Plug, several others of these clean energy companies are getting some blow at the same time. So we'll see ultimately how all of that plays out. This evening we do have Netflix earnings, and we have Tesla tomorrow in the evening. We had IBM last night. IBM put up pretty good numbers for IBM. It's like you can't look at those numbers and say, oh, so horrible. One thing that they did cite again, which is a common theme, is currency headwinds. Currency headwinds, dollar too strong, dollar way too strong. That's one way to look at it, dollar too strong. Or you can look at it as the euro and yen being so fucking worthless, it's ridiculous, which makes the dollar that much more strong. Another way to look at it. We do have policy coming out this week for both of those nations regarding monetary policy, which could ultimately affect their currency. Maybe it strengthens them a little bit. Maybe we get a sell on the dollar. Maybe some of these headwinds start to peel off when it comes to the strength of the dollar. Maybe. We'll see. But it's something that we have to be aware of when it comes to monetary policy, what's floating out there. As far as what I have that's going on in the world, nothing's really changed. According to the publications, we're all pretty much dead anyway, so fuck it, let's have a good time. Now we get to talk to Bender, who is actually more accurate than these headlines in telling us where we are and where we potentially can go. Bender, what say you?
Well, I'm gonna post this chart real quick because I think just so that we're all on the same page as to kind of where we're at in the grand scheme of things. Take a wider view. I'm going to post this in Discord here. I love when it does that, when I go to post a picture and then for whatever reason it's like, oh no, you only get half the picture.
I thought yours was going to be big of the boobs that you were looking at and copy pasting.
Oh my
gosh. You accidentally posted boobs.
It's way too early for that.
Would it be boobs or butts? Which one? If you were to accidentally get caught copying and pasting,
the former.
Should it be there? Boobs? Yeah? All right.
Okay. So there's there's kind of the bigger picture view. That's a daily chart on ES. You can see this downward channel, parallel channel in the shorter term that we're sitting in. That yellow line, the previous trend line resistance now acting as support down there at the bottom. That's the line that we bounced off of kind of twice, wicked down below it, popped right back above, down in the 3750s. And you can see those two little circles that I put in there kind of shows what we need to get above or below to get out of this range. You know, we've got a 200 point or so range that we've kind of been playing around in. And those are kind of the areas we got to hit to break out of this. To the downside, you're around 3730 or so, a little higher than that, 3740. And and then to the upside, to kind of get out of this, we're looking at somewhere in the 39.40 area. So about 200 points that we've been kind of playing around in. Overnight looked like 38.30s held as support. So we've got that below, not too far away. What is it, 40 points to find that, to revisit or retest that support. Just below, as we're currently sitting at 39.69, just below, we've got, or 38.69, sorry, just below, we've got 38.60 is the 5 MA and the 50 MA on the 60 minutes. So that's kind of the first level I'd look at. I know these are kind of squeezed together, but then 38.50 is the 10 MA, and 38.48 is the 20 MA. So you got two MAs. They're all squished together on the 60 minute. You got two of them sitting at 38.60 and two of them sitting at 38.48 and 38.50. Then we got that 38.30 support, which just below that 38.27 is the 20 MA on the daily. So they're all pretty tight right now, right in that area, down to 38.30. We give up 38.30, and then, if we give that up today, then it can start to get ugly. Above, yeah.
No, go ahead. Keep on going.
Above 38.76 previous resistance, which we are now just 6 points below that. And actually, let's see, is that where we rejected? No, about 38.72 just a few minutes ago. So 38.76 level of previous resistance. And then you got that 3,900 whole number. Obviously 39.10 just above that. And I hate doing it where it's like every 10 points, but that's where we're at right now, is that everything's kind of, started compressing and kind of squishing together. But sometimes you say, okay, well, what if you had one line that you had to look at and go, okay, above here we might be okay. That would be the 39.25. You want to see us get through that, come back and test that as support. On the way up, we might struggle at that 3,900. If we get through that and pull back and test as support, you can probably play that, looking for like 39.25 as a target. And then you take some profit, let it get through that, pull back and test that as support, and then we could see a nice move. And probably at that point, I think we make the march towards 39.50 and then eventually 4,000 sometime. Realistically, we could still see that happen this week. I don't, I think probability lower for that, but as long as we continue to hold, I'd say at this point, as long as we continue to hold above 38.30, we can make that march next week without any other, without more Apple. Which is obviously tongue in cheek because we need Apple to participate, but.
Absolutely. So for the SPY players, I posted a bastardized version of everything Bender's kind of talking about, at least on the 60-minute. It is bastardized, but it kind of says the same thing. It's his stuff on there that I'm using. At least I think I'm using it right. But the story that I see is very similar to the story that he's telling when I look at this. The setup is there. I don't think there's any question about it that the setup is there. Do setups have to play out? No, but it is there. I know yesterday I entered position in Mara, which is going to pay off very well this morning, and SOXL that is going to pay off very well this morning. So those two I'll be looking to manage. Just a little bit of context for the day and how I'm approaching it. We have to remember history, right? History is important in a lot of ways in what happens within the market. There's a couple of things that we need to be aware of. Number one, Netflix reports. Okay. If we remember last CR, remember when Netflix just shat itself all over the place and somehow they extrapolated the fact that how Netflix and the fact that they absolutely suck at what they do somehow needs to be carried over to Google's ad business, Amazon's ad business. Somehow it was worth about 5%, 6% on Tesla because I guess Netflix is in Tesla vehicles. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but they use that report to basically mirror the consumer and project them on other companies and businesses as opposed to just say, no, Netflix, you just fucking suck at what you do. That was last ER when they reported, and we were down heavily off of that ER. Netflix, we were down heavily. Okay. What came out after the fact was it's like, no, it is not a streaming issue. It is not a all these companies reported well. Apple reported well. Microsoft reported well. Google reported well. Tesla reported well. Even from the standpoint of streaming, Disney put up good streaming numbers. Hulu continued to put up good numbers, and Apple put up good numbers. Was not an industry issue. Was specifically a Netflix, we suck at what we do issue. Regardless of what it was, we sold. Tomorrow we also have inflation data coming out of Canada. Oh, Canada. We have existing home sales in the morning. At least those are after open as far as us to deal with. And again, there's going to be more conversation as far as monetary policy globally throughout the evening. So with all that being said, please understand the environment that we're in. Please understand what's going on and what you're buying and how long, and execute your plan accordingly. You get your monies, you feel good. You know what? Move on to the next trade. Reposition. Anyways, that's what I have to say about that. Thank you again, Bender, very much for the breakdown. And thank you again for giving me the confidence to go ahead and load up on those positions I picked up yesterday.
Oh, don't credit me for that.
Stockington, what do you have for us on this day that is today of a Tuesday?
Oh man, what an act to follow the happiest man alive. And we all dead because Netflix sucks. But
well, to be fair, you have chosen not to be the happiest man alive by spending your entire adult life avoiding strip clubs. It's like
and anything fun.
You made the conscious decision not to be happy years ago.
I did watch that show on HBO about the Lakers. Finished that last night. So
see, that's where he goes when you're like, you made a choice not to go to, and he's like, well, I did watch some A&E last night.
That was sports on TV, kinda. I liked it. All right. Well,
did you play some backgammon too?
Bender, we should, instead of discouraging him, we should say, you know what? Good job there, Stockington. Baby said we should encourage him.
Way to go out on a limb. Did you fall asleep in the lazy boy afterwards?
I'm trying. All right. Yeah, so I got AMD here on the list. It's moving up pre-market. Had a couple lines. I had 81.9 marked. It broke that. I put a line up above at 82.9 now, where it kind of stalled out pre-market yesterday. So gonna see if this kind of momentum on AMD continues. Maybe we get a retest of some of these levels to the downside. I also had Amazon on the list just because it got some decent dark pool last night. They hit it at 113.97 with 113 million. Also drifted up above a few different dark pools here on Amazon. So if we retest, there's this 114.33 was 393 million, and then it's got just multiple dark pools below now. So if we retest any of that, then we need to break above 115.44 on Amazon. And then I guess Bender's favorite, we got Apple, watching that every day. But I had a line at 147.45 that just went down and held pre-market, and then it's got to break to the upside. It's got to break 147.7 is a little dark pool, so it's kind of stuck in a little range. But that's what I'll be watching on those three for today.
All right, awesome. All right, guys. Yeah, we got anything else? Do the people have anything else to say?
Here's one more. This is like, because I was showing the daily. Here's one more chart. This is 78 minute. Here you go.
If you could do decimal, if you could do like 78.7236, would you do that? Would you add the decimal points behind it?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason we use the numbers we do, and part of it's obviously because of fib sequence, and then part of it is some of these numbers make even candles. When you divide the trading day up, you get an even number of candles. So no, that would be weird.
Are you surprised that I suggested something weird?
Not in the least. No. So there's the 78 minute, and you can kind of see that range that we've been in. And actually, if you take that to like a 13 minute, there is a parallel channel that exists on the shorter time frames. But at least that 78 minute, sometimes you look at the daily and you're like, oh my gosh, there's this 200 plus point range. Like, how do you even trade that? Zoom in and get a closer view. Now that you know where you're at on a macro view, then you start to zoom in and get some tighter levels, and you can see that, man, if we can get above, we're just above 3870 right now, but if we can kind of pop through that and use that level as support, 3900 then is only 30 away, and if we can get through that and use it as support, then we can start to look towards that previous trend line. So right there you've got two levels that have 30 points each, and you can do the same thing on the downside. Go, okay, what's the near term level that I need to look for us to break, and then test and use it as resistance. Right here, honestly, if you were leaning short, this 3870s area isn't a horrible spot. If you were looking at that going, well, I think this is going to act as resistance, and then we come back down and test the 3830s again. But you may also just get chopped up. So anyway.
Well, we have 16 minutes or so, 16 minutes and some change before the market opens. Let's get comfortable. Let's go through our deals. Let's look at our tickers. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we want. See what we don't want, and go from there.
See
Thank
what
you
we
everybody
want.
for listening. Bender, thanks again. Ackington, thank you again, my friend. See you guys shortly.